Welcome back to another episode of Technologies. Today, we are discussing about CPU generations. Do they really matter, or is it all just marketing trick? It seems like a new generation comes out every year, leaving us wondering if we need to upgrade to the latest generation. So, what exactly are CPU generations? CPUs of the same generation usually share the same microarchitecture, manufacturing process, basic features, and chipset compatibility. When Intel talks about their 14th gen processor, or AMD mentions the Ryzen 7000 series, they are referring to a CPU generation. So, does the CPU generation really make a difference in performance and features? Generally, a new CPU generation does not perform its predecessor, but the extent of the performance difference can vary significantly. Sometimes, a new generation is just a minor refresh with slightly higher clock speeds and a few tweaks. It is like manufacturers giving their car a minor update and calling it a new model year. However, some CPU generations bring significant performance improvements thanks to leaps in microarchitecture design and smaller transistors. These improvements can result in up to 30% performance boost compared to the previous generation. To truly gauge the performance increase of a new CPU generation, it is best to check if the manufacturer has changed the microarchitecture. But a new generation is not just about performance. New CPU generations often bring along newer technologies like improved security, energy efficiency, support for faster RAM, and enhanced integrated graphics. So, there's more to it than meets the eye. And how to know what generation your CPU belongs to? Just look at the first number of your CPU's model name. For example, if you have an Intel Core i5 14400, it belongs to the 14th generation of Intel CPUs. Lastly, do you really need to upgrade to the latest CPU generation? The answer depends on your specific needs and circumstances. For most people, upgrading every time a new generation is released is usually not necessary. The overall difference in performance is typically not earth-shattering. A good rule of thumb is if you feel like the CPU no longer meets your requirement and if it is bottlenecking your system. If you are struggling to keep up with the latest game, running demanding work programs, or simply want to stay on the bleeding edge of tech, then upgrading might make sense for you. But that is the catch. Upgrading to the latest CPU generation often means buying a new motherboard and possibly memory as well. New CPU generations sometimes come with new CPU sockets, which means your current motherboard may not be compatible. However, if your motherboard does support the latest generation, it might be a worthwhile upgrade compared to replacing most of your PC's components. Until then, catch you next time.